record. So today we will see the first topic, that is what is SAP UI5. So what is SAP UI5? So SAP UI5 is nothing but it is a collection of libraries which is used to build responsive web application. So what would be the responsive web application? So responsive web application are those which are built once and can be run on multiple devices like desktop, mobile, and tablet. And how it can be achieved in SAP UI5? Because SAP UI5 uses some UI controls that are provided by SAP itself and that adapts themselves to the capabilities of each device. So nowadays, what is happening? A lot of business processes are performed on the mobile devices, and SAP UI5 helps to transform the business process from the local machine to the global platforms. So that is why the SAP nowadays it is a framework. SAP UI5 is a framework so for building the responsive web application. So why SAP UI5 is called as a framework? A framework is nothing but which actually provides a built-in classes, methods, or any properties and all in order to build the enterprise business applications. So next thing, SAP UI5 is a client technology. So what is the client technology? So client technology means it is completely on the client's computer, and so it's not a server related. The server comes into picture when if I want to deploy or if I want to store the application on the server side. So there itself the server comes into the picture. And this technology SAP UI5, it's totally based on the JavaScript, HTML5, and the CSS. So these are one of the most popular web development technologies. So SAP is already, it's a combination of all three. So next thing, what is SAP UI5? What is the MVC concept? So MVC is nothing but a model view controller. So we will look the model view controller in detail in a coming part. So what is SAP? Why the SAP supports both ECC and SAP S4 HANA system? So ECC and SAP S4 HANA, it's one kind of the latest ERP SAP systems where we whatever the services are provided from the systems can be consumed by the SAP of application. So that is the case. That's why the SAP also works with both of these ERP systems in order to provide the better application data on the UI level. Yes, Sanjeev, you can ask the questions now.
Okay. So yeah, by that I know is UI5 is working in ECC and both S4. It is independent. The screen design is independent of any ERP. That means
Yeah, right. Okay.
okay. So
So
you have to do the combination of both JavaScript, HTML, and CSS. What is CSS?
CS is nothing but it's a cascading style sheet. So if I want to color any button, okay, so there are predefined classes already provided in order to color the button. But apart from that, some customer requires that I need such kind of colors also. I need a custom data. I need some background color for that button. I need some shadow for that button. I need to set some border radius to that button. So to give some kind of a different look and feel to that button, we normally use the CSS.
Okay. That means
Some things which are
it is
yeah,
only used for the style purpose.
right, only for the styling purpose.
Okay.
And it
Okay.
also used for some case some controls are not responsive. So in order to make responsive also we can use the CSS.
Okay.
Okay.
And other like a text box, a label, or table we have to design. It should be designed through JavaScript or HTML file.
No, it should be totally developed through the XML.
XML.
Yes, we normally you so there are different kind of view. We will be looking at the different views when we actually start the coding from the scratch. When we develop, when we start to develop the application, then I'll let you know how the means the views are there and why we mostly prefer the XML views.
Okay.
Okay, so should I
Okay.
move forward?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So XML views you tell me you will design, but in
Mhm.
XML view you have to use JavaScript HTML file. What is the use of is JavaScript and HTML file then?
JavaScript is means, so this UI5 entire UI5 framework is totally based on means using the JavaScript. So the controller logic, whatever the JS code we write, it's typically
Mm.
dependent on the JavaScript code, the syntax and overall. Okay, so syntax is completely related to the JavaScript when we write the business logic, and HTML5 is nothing but, so all the applications, if I create a three views or three controller files, in the end finally that whole output will run in a index.html file. By default there is a sap.ui.core library which makes that happen, which integrates all the UI controls in which places all the component file in the index.html's body finally. So that's why SAPUFI normally uses the JavaScript, HTML5 and the CSS.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, so
Okay.
should I proceed further?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, so next, so what is the versions in SAP UFI? So normally SAP UFI uses the 3-digit version identifier, for example 1.52.22. So the first digit, that is one, it specifies the major release version. So that is the major release version for that SAP UFI. And the second digit, the 52 specifies the version number, that is the minor version. And the third digit 22 specifies the patch number. So normal, this is how the versioning of SAP UFI happens. So the following versions have the long-term maintenance, that is the 1.38, which is included in SAP underscore UI. So what is SAP underscore UI? So this is nothing but it is a component which has been added in SAP NetWeaver Gateway, so that we can identify that what is the current version of our SAP UI5. So once we install the SAP underscore UI 7.50 component in the SAP NetWeaver Gateway, so that we should be able to get the SAP UI5 version as a 1.38. So when, as soon as we upgrade it to the 1.50 to 7.50 to 7.53 or the 7.54, the UI version will get upgraded. So as of now the latest is 1.71, which is a actual the stable version, and SAP has already provided the long-term maintenance for it, so we can use it apart from any other versions. So these are nothing but these are the versions in the SAP UI5. So any questions, Sanjeev, in this?
So the current version is SAP UI. So you have to install in the SAP box, SAP NetWeaver additional component, or how it is?
Yes. So when it required, um, suppose in a Fury Launchpad you want to deploy some application. Okay. So
Mm,
so in a Fury Launchpad kind of thing, there is
mm,
already the UI component, that is SAP underscore UI component is installed, that is of version 7.50. Okay.
mm,
So 7.50 UI component is installed in the SAP system.
mm.
So what version I will get of SAP
That
UFI?
I got it.
1.38.
Yeah, that I got it. So
Hmm.
like S4 HANA, we are
Hmm.
installing like on that day you told me that we have to
Right.
install SAP GUI 7.4 or 7.5 like this. That is another thing, one box. So SAP UI is installed. That means SAP Fury is installed in another box, or what is it is another box, or what, or it is added to that S4 HANA.
No. It's completely related to means it's linked to the S4 HANA also, and normally the SAP systems also. In SAP, if I want to make sure that our the Fury system is latest upgraded, so we need this component SAP underscore UI component. So then only.
Oh, that
So yeah, tell me.
yeah, that means it is included in the SAP ECC or in S4. It is
Yeah,
already
right,
in. If you
right,
want to install, you can install as a patch.
right.
Okay.
So normally S4 HANA system. So this is the latest version, right, for the SAP systems. So for the
Okay.
S4 HANA, I think the 1.71, it is the latest, and which is a mandatory for it. So if I
Yeah.
want to use it, so 1.71.
Okay. Okay.
So suppose what does it means? Suppose if I want to deploy any application on the SAP Fury Launchpad, and your SAP UFI version means when you create the template at the start, so there is also the provision to select the SAP UFI version. And suppose in that case, if you're selecting the version as a 1.52, okay, and your system is your Fury system is of 1.38, okay.
Mm. Mm.
So in that case, what will happen? Your application will not deploy on that is the Fury system. Why? Because your current template version is 1.52 and you're deploying on the
Mm.
system that is already of 1.38. Then will it
Mm.
work? It will not work. But
Yeah.
it can also but suppose if your template version is 1.52, your SAP UFI version is 1.52, and you're already the system which is already installed in the SAP system that is a 1.60, then it can be
Mm.
possible to deploy the
Yeah. Okay.
version which is already less than
Okay.
current version of SAP system.
Yeah. Higher version will be obviously compatible.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. Okay. So these
Okay.
are the versions in SAP UFI. So I hope I have answered your question. Should I move for should I
Yeah. Yeah.
move forward?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So next thing, what is the architecture of SAP UFI? So normally in SAP UFI, the architecture mainly consists of three layers. On the top is nothing but it is a presentation layer. So what presentation layer? So in a presentation layer, normally all the mobiles, tablet or desktop or laptop, they consume the UI component in order to display the user interfaces. So that is the presentation layer. In the middle, it's nothing but it is an application client layer. So what is application client layer? So it normally uses the SAP UFI libraries. So libraries like sap.m.library, sap.ui commons.library. So we will be seeing what are the libraries in the coming session. So normally these libraries are consumed by the application client in order to display the user interface. So this is nothing but SAP UFI libraries, and this is a application client, or it is a act as a middle layer for this architecture of SAP UFI. So next comes the last layer, that is the application server layer. So this is a layer, this is optional for the SAP UFI. It is useful when if I want to consume any OData services, or if I want to deploy the application on the system. So the NetWeaver gateway, it's all the SAP systems where if I want to consume any kind of the business data, so I will be using this application server layer. So this is the simple architecture of SAP UI5. Hello. Yes, Sanjeev.
Yeah. Why you are telling that application server is optional?
Yeah, so
Because if
that's
there
why
is some.
they have included it as an option, because there are some application, because if I want to deploy the standalone application on the cloud platform, so in that
Hmm.
case I don't think so that we require the application server.
So even if you put on the cloud platform, where the data will come then?
No,
There
no,
should
no,
be some.
I'm asking if I want to get the OData services from the backend services. In that case only I will be using the application server layer.
Hmm.
If I'm not
That.
if I don't want to use any data from the OData or any SAP system, so in that case my I don't require the application server layer.
Yeah. But then where you will get the data? Only in presentation or the
Okay,
user
so
interface is
in
not
SAP,
sufficient. Na?
yes. So in SAP UFI, there are there we can also maintain the local file in the project itself. Okay, so we can also maintain the local JSON file. So with that also I can able to fetch the data. Or if I don't want, then I can simply fetch the data from the OData services, that is from the SAP system.
Yeah, that I got it from SAP system. You can take obviously the data at that time application, the backend system is required.
Right.
But like this, you are telling that you can make JSON file all these things, but what you will show in the front end actually
Actually, in
are
a
the
front end, suppose if I'm normally just a kind of a mock screens, mock app I'm just developing. So in that case, if I in that case, what I'll do, instead of fetching the data from our data services, because if there is any requirement that client is asking, just prepare a demo application, so that normally use the local JSON file in order to display the data on a front end. So in that case, what I will do, I will simply create one data.json file in the project folder itself. And after that, once I create the once I create the data.json a local JSON file, I will include all the data in that. And once that data is fetched into the application, so I can simply create a model based on the data, and I can simply bind the data to my UI controls, so that I would be able to display all the data related to that UI controls.
okay.
There is also the provision to store the local JSON file in the SAP UI5 project. Okay.
Okay. That means it is always for demo. Obviously, it will be small amount of data.
Yes. Only the JSON data, it's only used for the small amount of data, only data sets. It will be not
Okay.
working on the huge data sets. If on a client
Okay.
side, if I want to store some local JSON data, then in that case only I will be using the JSON model normally.
Okay. Yeah, got it.
Okay, so this is the basic architecture of SAP UFI, where this is the presentation layer on the top, and this is the middle layer, which is nothing but it consists of UFI libraries and controls, and at the bottom, at the last, is nothing but an application server layer. Okay, so should I move forward?
Yeah.
Okay.
And the UI5 application client and the front end, it will be connected through all the inbuilt library,
Right,
or how
correct.
it will be.
Yes. So means what we will do. So this application client, the place where we actually develop our code. So in that case, all the things means all the libraries will be consumed. And once I run the application, that application will be run on the browser itself. So
Hmm.
browser is on the laptop, or it may be on the mobile or tablet
Anything.
or anything.
Okay. So that means when you do the design the application client, at that time we have to generate one one link. That means browser link.
Right,
That browser
right,
link will be accessed through the laptop, desktop, any other. Okay,
right,
front end.
right.
Okay.
Sorry. Okay. So so
Got
let's
it. And
move to the hello.
another thing, and yeah, got it. And suppose in the backend you have to connect through OData if
Right,
backend
right.
data is required. If
Yes.
the data will be on cloud, then how at that time also OData used, or have you worked on cloud?
No, for normally the cloud, we haven't worked till now for the cloud
Okay.
purpose, for the cloud
Okay.
data.
Okay.
So
Okay. Okay.
mostly we use the OData services from the SAP
Yeah, yeah,
system.
yeah. Obviously, maximum on premise. Yeah, got it.
Hmm. Okay, so this is the general architecture of SAP UFI. So let's move to the next topic. So next topic is MVC concept in SAP UFI. So SAP UFI uses the model view controller, the MVC concept, which is mainly used for development to keep the application data separate from the user interaction. So this allows you to develop the web application and make changes to the application independently. So what is the model? So model is responsible for managing the application data in the database and the backend. And the view is nothing but it is responsible for defining the user interface to the users. When the user sends a request from his device, the view is responsible for the data view as per the request submitted. And what is the controller? A controller is used to control the data and the view events as per the user interaction by updating the view and the model. So you can define the model view controller concept in SAP UFI with the following features. So the features may be the first, the model. What is the model? So model is act as a bridge between the view and the application data. And model is used to get the request from the view and respond as per the user input. So model doesn't depend on the classes. So that is the case. So what about the view? View is also responsible to manage the information display to the users. And views are totally based on the models. And finally, the controller. A controller is responsible for taking the input given by the devices and communicates to the model and view and to trigger the correct action. So controllers are based on the model. So this is the generic MVC concept in SAP UFI. Yes, Sanjeev, you can ask the questions now in the MVC.
Okay. So model is used
Hello,
backend.
Sanjeev, your voice is not clear.
Could you hear me now?
It is the same issue what I faced yesterday. Uh, k- I I would suggest to remove the earphones. Maybe it's an issue with the earphones.
Hello.
Hello. Yes, yes. Now you're audible.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. So you are telling that model is will be responsible for connecting the backend data, and here the
No, no, no. So in a front end, normally what we do. So if I want to manipulate some data in the front end, so we normally use the models. So model is a thing that if I want to bind the data to the table, means suppose some data is coming from the backend, okay, from the SAP system. So that data, if I want to bind it to the table, so for that case, I will be using the models. So any data manipulation kind of thing, create, update, delete, or anything, if I want to do with respect to the data, everything can be done using the models.
okay model is used to manipulate the data in the backend or
Not in the
a,
backend, means there are some. So we do have some different models, just like the OData model. So using the OData model, we can fetch or we means we can read or we can delete or we can create data
yeah,
in a backend.
okay, okay,
So there are predefined, that is a built-in APIs provided by SAP UFI for the OData one.
yeah. So model is for the data manipulation, view is for the design,
Okay,
and controller is to control the model and view.
right, right, exactly right. So
Okay,
normally what controller does, controller captures all the views actions, and after that it updates on the view, and it is also responsible to update the model. Suppose if in a model, if I want to update any data, so controller is also responsible to update the data inside the model.
okay,
Okay, so this is the general MVC concept in SAP UFI.
okay.
So now let's begin with the BS, the normal, the development ID. So I should I move forward or is there any questions for this?
No, no, no. Go ahead.
Okay. Okay, I'll just reload it once. Okay, so what is SAP BS? So SAP Business Application Studio. So this is the tool, and it is a new SAP Cloud Platform service in a SAP Cloud Foundry. So which offers a modern development environment for efficient development of business application for the SAP Intelligent Enterprise. So what SAP Business Applications Studio does, it provides a desktop-like experience similar to leading IDs with a command line and optimize editors. So SAP Business Application, on heart of that, it provides the dev spaces. So dev spaces are nothing but it's like a isolated virtual machines. So this virtual machines provides, suppose if I want to develop some Fury application, so it will, so we can create a dev space with respect to the Fury application, and it will provide whatever the extensions are required with respect to the Fury application. So that is one kind of the dev space the business application studio is providing with whatever type of the application if you want to create. So if you want to create any S4 HANA related application, so you can also create the dev space with respect to the S4 HANA. So it will provide all that extension, all that add-ons which are required in order to develop or in order to build the application. So this is a general, so this is the modern tool provided by the SAP for building the web applications on the browser. So it is a totally a cloud base, so we don't have to worry and all. It is not an offline one. Okay, Sanjeev, you can ask me the questions with respect to this business application studio.
Yeah, you are telling that this is cloud-based. So we will design in the business application studio all the applications that
Right,
need to be
right,
done.
right.
So in that means like SAP will have you if you log into SAP. So there are transactions are there, all these things there where we are designing or we are writing codes, all these things. But here, how we'll do the code? That means you are telling that there is a dev space. So
Mm-hmm.
so you once you log in, so so this type of page will open. Then where you will go and how to
Yes,
develop
yes, yes. I will
this.
show you. I will show you that one. Don't worry on that. I'll show you. Okay, so
Okay.
normally, so I have created the two dev space. So maximum two dev space are allowed. Okay, so maximum two dev space are allowed, and in which only one can be run at a time. If one is running, second can be disabled or it would be automatically stopped. So if you're not using the dev space more than the 30 days, it would be automatically deleted. So that is the case, we just need to think about it. And for deleting also, there is already the predefined buttons they have provided for delete, or if I want to download this dev space, it is also possible in this SAP business application studio. So that is the thing with this dev spaces. So
And is there any concept called here? You are telling that we have to develop here. Like in SAP, we have three clients mainly: development, testing, and production client. So
okay.
is there any concept like this here also?
No, no, no. There is no conflict. Means, suppose what I will do.
No conflict
Suppose
with this concept. Then how you will deploy into production all these things? Or this is only for development, both development, testing, and production.
no, no, no. I'll explain you. Suppose if I've developed one application, a simple UFI application, okay, and after that I deployed it on the SAP system using some the TR or in some package, okay,
Hmm.
by creating some semantic object for it. And once I deployed it on inside of the TR, so that TR is already having the BSP application, right? So whatever the application
Okay.
I deployed it, so once if I want to move it to the quality, then I can simply move the TR in the quality. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
in SAP also, when you develop in development, we will save it on the TR, then TR will move to quality and production.
right,
Here also
same
same
thing.
thing.
Here also we
Yeah.
will do the same thing. we just need the tr semantic object and some package. So in that we can include this BSP application. So BSP application is nothing but business server pages. So we include this application into that tr, and once that tr captures the application, we can simply move from development to quality or quality to production.
Okay. For
So we will also
configure.
see that how we normally configure the tiles and what all the different TRs we create for the application deployment.
Okay.
Okay, so next thing. So my dev space is already running. So I will click on the odata underscore space. Don't think on the name, the naming. You can give any name. So once I click on this, it will open the SAP Business Application Studio. So it will take some couple of time. So once the SAP Business Application Studio runs, and so we just need to wait for some couple of seconds. It in a background, it just installs some of the templates or tools which are required. So you can ignore this the error messages. So normally this is the page, or this is the home screen for the SAP Business Application Studio. And so what will happen, so now generally what it does, it opens the welcome page for from where we can have the different option to create the project from the scratch. So if you don't find the welcome page, so if welcome page doesn't appear on the home screen, so there is an option to open the welcome page. So for that I will simply click on the view, and once I click on the view, I can find the different options. So for one I actually need is the find command. So if I click on the find command, it will open the pop-up in the center of the page, and in that I have to just type welcome page. So if I type, I would get the welcome. So if I click on that, it will open the three options in the welcome screen, whatever if I require. That is the start from template, so where I will actually creating the new project, a clone from git. If application is already deployed on the git, so I can directly fetch that application using the git, using the url. And finally the files and folder, or if I want to import some of the files directly, or some of the projects directly into this project, into this workspace, that is also possible. So this is the generic. Or if I don't want to create an application from this welcome page, so there is also the another option, that is I can click on the file, and there is also the new project from template. So it will also give me the same options once I click on this start from the template. So this is the way we normally create an application. So okay, Sanjeev, you can ask me the questions if you have any questions with respect to this page.
Got it. So once you go to the business application studio, you can create from the file menu.
Yes, so
New, it will appear the same thing, or you can go to the welcome. Normally, we will go through the file. We will
yes,
on
yes.
right.
Normally, what used to happen? So when I open the business application studio, so by default, the welcome page was used to open, but I don't know. In some cases nowadays, it's not
Yeah,
opening.
I will not be in favorite or something. Yeah, got it.
Yes. So the when I click on this, we have a normal a variety of templates.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
But, mm,
So we'll move to the next topic. We'll move further. We'll create a. Okay. So what I'll do. So if I want to create a project from the scratch, I'll simply click on this start from the template option. So once I click on this, so it will open the new tab, that is the project from template. So it will take some time. It will take some couple of seconds. So once it loaded, we can see the select template and the target location. So by default, the target location is already configured. You don't have to worry on that. Home users and projects. So under the project, there is a variety of template if I have to choose. So suppose if I want to choose a simple Fury freestyle project, so I will simply select the SCP Fury freestyle project. So this is the basic template we normally select in order to develop the Fury application. So what is the adaptation project? This is the template where if I want to extend any project, so for that I will be using the adaptation project. And so we do have some of the multi-target application, so some of the SAP Fury elements application. And if I want to generate any card related template or card related application, that is also possible in this. So these are the basic templates. So by default, so if I want to create a Fury application, I will normally select the SAP Fury freestyle template. So once I select, I have to just click on the start button. Yes, Sanjeev.
yeah, got it. So once you go there, normally we'll create a SAP Fiori freestyle project, and it will create a template for you to design.
Right, right. Okay. So once I click on the SAP Fury freestyle project, I have to click on the start button. And once I click on the start button, so there is a different target running environments, so which are already available in a drop down list. So that is the Cloud Foundry and the ABAP. So suppose if I developed an application and if I want to deploy it on the cloud, so for that I will simply select the Cloud Foundry. Or if I want to deploy it on the ABAP repository, so for that I will select the option as a ABAP. So these are the two target running environments which are provided by the BAS. So as of now, I will select that is the Cloud Foundry template, Cloud Foundry target running environment. So once I select, then I will select the default template. Select the template you want to use. So there are the templates which are already available. So these are the different designs of templates provided by the SAP UFI. So what is SAP UFI application? So this is the blank template. So from where I can simply create the template based on my requirement. So SAP UFI is a by default template with a blank screen. And what is SAP Fury Worklist Application? So this is the project, or this is the template where already by default the list is created with the data. So for this the service so for this the service is mandatory to bind. And next we have the SAP Fury Worklist application. So this is also some related to this Fury Worklist also. Both are the same in the sense only the OData version is different. And then we finally have the SAP Fury master detailed application. So this is the template where on the left hand side I can see the master page, and on the right hand side I can see the detail page. So this is the default templates where I will be using, but normally I will normally focus on SAP UFI application template. So this is a template where if I want to create application from the scratch based on the requirement, so I would normally select SAP UFI application template. So this is a blank template. So once I select, I have to just click on the next. Yes, Sanjeev, you want to ask any question related to these templates?
Yeah, you have choose Cloud Foundry and ABAP actually. ABAP is for on-premise, that means, or cloud is for cloud.
Right, right,
Okay.
right. Means if I want to deploy any application on the cloud, I will simply select the Cloud Foundry. And
mm,
if I want to deploy it on the SAP system, that is on the ABAP repository, for that I'll select the ABAP project. Means the target would be the ABAP.
That means in cloud system, there's the connection should not be through OData. If you choose ABAP, then the connections will be in through OData.
No, if I though if I select the Cloud Foundry from this drop down, then also I would be able to fetch, or so there is also the possibility, means there is also the provision provided by this template, that is the Business Application Studio, to select the service from the OData. That is also possible. So there is no restriction at all.
Okay.
Okay. So once I select the SAP UFI template, I will click on the next. So I will normally give the project name. Suppose for if I'm so I would be developing the simple login page in SAP UFI. So for that I will give a Z login project. So the project name should always start with a Z, because this is a custom project. This is not a standard project. And once I select, so once I enter the project name, and after that I have to just click on the next button. So what is the standalone app router? So there is a app router configuration provided by the BAS. So what is the HTML5 application runtime? So there are the two options. So the standalone app router and app router managed by the SAP cloud platforms. So what are the app routers? So app router is nothing but it serves the static content from HTML5 application repository. So there is already a repository provided by the SAP where our actual HTML5 application resides. So if I want to authenticate any user, if I want to rewrite URLs, or if I want to request any other services, so for that I would be using the standalone app router. So normally it recommends to use the app router managed by SAP Cloud Platform, because it provides more services when we compare it with the standalone app router. So it just provides the static information related to the application. So we will normally, so as of now I will normally select the standalone app router, because it provides some of the extensibility if I want to extend any app router. Yes, Sandeep.
Yeah, yeah. So you will choose standalone adapt router, app
Yes,
router.
if yeah, normally means so as of now from starting onwards, I'm continuously using the standalone app router. So if I want to deploy any application on SAP Cloud Platform, so this is the cloud. So in that case, I would be using this option, app router managed by SAP Cloud Platform. So there are
Okay.
the different services which are already provided by SAP Cloud Platforms. So that can be consumable by our application. So that is the
Yeah.
case.
Okay.
Okay, so this is the app router configuration. So once I select the standalone app router from the app router configuration, I would click on the next button. So now there is a by default so there are the fields which I have to give the information. So basic attributes that are needed. So enter the HTML5 module name. So I would give the module name to my project. That is, this is the login project. So this is the this can be the name, anything you can give based on your project. So it is asking me whether you want to add any authentication. No, I don't want to add, so I will keep by default option as a no. So then after, if I want to give any name to my namespace, so namespace is a thing which uniquely identifies our project. So for that I would be normally using the namespace. So namespace name is mandatory. So normally the namespace names are starting from the com dot anything, the com dot application name. So anything, for as of now I'll simply give the login. So by default I will select the option as a no for the karma test. So yes, Sandeep, you want to ask any question with
So
respect to
what
this
is karma
attributes?
test? What is karma? tests?
It kind of the testing, unit testing kind of thing in this business application studio. So
Okay.
normally we used to keep a no only.
Okay. So
Yes.
HTML, so you will give the project name, then you want to
Yes. Then if you want to add any
so
authentication, will not add any authentication. So we'll keep it as a no. And
if
after that,
you
this is the namespace.
I don't get. So if you add any authentication, that means before this screen will appear, some authentication will be required.
Right, right, right.
Okay.
So
Okay.
after
Go
that,
ahead.
yes, after that a namespace. So namespace is very important, Sanjeev. You just have to keep in mind. So namespace is very important. Whatever the name you will give in namespace, this is only the ID you will be using while deployment of project.
Okay.
Okay, so namespace name. So normally, suppose if you are working for any client, for example, if it is a client of the Bosch or anything, the Bajaj or anything client, a client is there. So normally what we do, we normally used to prefer the namespace as a com.bajaj or com.bosch. So this kind of a namespace will helps to identify that this project is related to that kind of thing.
Okay.
So namespace is uniquely identified normally for each client. So for any client, they have defined some standard rules that need to be followed, the naming conventions. So based on that naming conventions only, you have to decide what should be the namespace. So these things would be definitely um, this information will be given you by the functional or any person who will give you the requirements actually.
Okay.
Your scrum master maybe. So they will give you all the details with respect to this project. Okay,
Okay.
so this is normally the basic attributes. So once I fill all the basic attributes, I have to click on the next button. So then here comes what is the view. So in SAP UFI there are the different kind of views which are already provided. So what are the views? So views are nothing but it is a place where we actually declare the user controls. So user controls are nothing but the user interfaces. So if I want to design any page, so I would be normally using the XML tags. So why we normally prefer the XML? Because this produces the most readable code and with force us to separate the view declaration from the controller logic. So that's why we normally use the XML. So XML is used to protect the MVC guidelines. As XML, there is a no way you can put the processing logic inside the XML views. So in this case, we always use the controller to put our the processing logic. So XML is the industry standard to put views in a UI based application. So suppose a passing of XML in a device is a faster than JavaScript. So there are some different kind of views provided by the SAP UFI. So one of them is XML, HTML, and JavaScript. So why we use XML? Because it is a faster than JavaScript and HTML also. The readability of the XML code is better than both of this, the JS and the HTML. So SAP is also recommending that we to use the XML views instead of the JS, as it is a better in terms of maintainability and the readability. Okay. Yes, Sanjeev. You want
Yeah,
to
yeah,
ask
yeah.
any question?
No, we will use the XML views for design the screen.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So what I'll do, so I will give the name for my view. Suppose, so I have to develop the login page. So for developing the login page, so user will get to know that what type of view I have used. So for that, I'll simply give the name or the identifier for my view name, that is the login page. So once I give the name to my view, then there is an option. Do you want to add a data service? So this is the option where if I select yes, then it is a mandatory to add the data service. So data service is nothing but the service which is been created or been developed in the SCGW, the transaction. So if I want to if I want to consume any OData services, so for that I will select the option yes. So once I select the option yes, then only it's necessary or it's mandatory to select the OData services from the SAP system. So as of now, I will select the no because I don't want to add any OData service. So once I select no, then I'll simply click on the next part. Okay, so once our application template is generated, then I'll simply, there are the two options in a bottom footer in a pop-up. We can see that is the add to workspace and open in new workspace. So what is the option add to workspace? If I click on the add to workspace, then it will add the project in the same view, in the same project. If any workspace is already open, then it will add the project in the same view. But if I want to, but if I select open in new workspace, so what it will do, it will it will add the project in the new environment again. Our business application studio will be reloaded with the new workspace, and in which only the single project, so whatever the project we create, that project will be displayed, and the rest of the project, it would be disabled. So that is the case with these two options. So what I'll do, I'll simply select on open in new workspace. So what it will do, it will refresh my SAP Business Application Studio, and it will only open the files related to my project. It will not include rest of the project files which are previously created. Okay, so once I create the project, so I can see the module name, that is the login project. So this is the place where I would be doing my normal coding part, that is the designing and the controller and the model part. Everything can be included in this login project. So this is the HTML5 module name which I have given at the start of the project creation. So so my main thing is I have to expand the web app. So web app, it is the folder, or it is a place where I would be normally designing all of my um the UI controls for my application. So Sanjeev, you want to ask any questions with respect to this?
So we'll create a new project, then we'll design here in the web app
Right,
controller
right.
services.
So at the start we have given an HTML5 module name, right? So this is the login project, the name of the,
Right.
and this is the actual project name on the top, Z login project. So this is the module name, and under that we have different node modules. You can ignore it as of now. So just keep in mind, as a fresher, sorry, as a new person to this beginner, you can just think of the web app folder. So in web app, if I want to write any logic, I would write normally the logic in a controller file. So if I want to design any page, I would write the,
View.
yes, in the view, because we are following the MVC architecture, right? So where our controller, our view, and the model is separated, is already separated, so that we can easily focus on the development.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay, got
so
it. And you don't have to save it. Automatically, it will save, like in SAP, we are saving this, then activating this, all these things. You don't have to do all these
no.
things.
So in previously in WebID, what we used to do, we used to do the control save, so that the code used to save. But in Business Application Studio, there is by default auto save. As soon as you type, after a few seconds your code will be saved. Okay,
Okay.
so once your code will be saved, I will be showing you in few minutes.
Yeah, I think today we can close now. Maybe tomorrow we will design the screen. All these
Okay,
things, is it okay? Because
okay,
we are.
okay, that should be fine, Sanjeev. So tomorrow we'll only focus on the designing part and the controls.
Logic. Yeah, yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Okay, that should be
Mm.
fine then. Okay,
Yeah, yeah,
Sanjeev,
yeah.
I will be sharing. I will sharing with you all this training videos. Don't worry on that.
Yeah. tomorrow we will design and we will how to populate all these things. We will write this.
Right,
Yeah.
right, right. In a meanwhile, if
It
you
will,
get any time, so you can if you, I think you, we have already created dev space for you, right, on that day.
yes, 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 yes.
So
I
you can
I will
simply
create one. Yes,
template.
yes. Got it.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Okay, Sanjeev, then thank you very much, and so we will see you in the next lecture then.
Thanks.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks.